Good evening, everyone. Hello, Stephanie. How are you?
Hi guys. I'm good. I'm good. I'm drinking a beer tonight.
Whew.
What?
Um,
Crazy.
Hi to Kevin, Sean, Jay, Pinecone, and everyone in the room. Let us know if you see
Hey
any
guys.
glitches or hear any audio issues. Otherwise, hopefully, we're all set up and good to go. It probably feels like we just did one of these, and we did because I was unavailable at the end of last month to do one. So we did the January comp in the middle of Feb, and now it's the very start of March, and we're back on schedule. So thank you to everyone who entered your sports shots. We're going to run through. We don't have nearly as many entries as we did last month. So it'll be a little bit quicker, so we'll have more time for chit chat, for answering your questions. Little housekeeping. I'm heading to the States at the end of March. Going to be doing a workshop with Steph in New York, then with Honey in LA.
Yeah.
And I've got an EOI up for other workshops. You can see details in the description. Also, the sale I've had going this month where you could use the code FAMILY to get half price off most of my courses, that's ending 24 hours from this going live. Um, I chose that time because it's kind of the end of the month, start of the month, and I am flying to Thailand for a week of shoots tomorrow afternoon. So I need to get that and all the admin done before I get onto the road. So all those details are in the description below. And Stephanie, let me predict your answer.
Hi.
Busy, busy, busy. But
Oh
how
yeah.
have you been?
I have been good. Busy, busy, busy. This month it's March. So that means for my
Madness.
group, our school dropouts, yeah, it's March Madness. We are busy. We're gonna be shooting. I'm like already planning to do a 360-degree behind the scenes live stream tomorrow. So everyone can like see the mayhem that happens on set because we're going to be building a desk and creating the set design, and I'm stressed already, but it's okay. It's gonna be a
Because you
month
have a
long
blueberry
of this.
beer to calm you down.
Yeah, and I guess to celebrate early, I don't know. I haven't drank in a really long time, so this beer is it's already hitting me, I'll be completely honest. And I didn't even pour out the whole can. It's
Uh-oh.
just it took like two sips. But yeah, and I'm ready to review your photos, guys.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, I hope you guys aren't hearing a little warbling in Steph's audio. I just heard it then, but I don't know. It's so hard on these things. You never know. Is it someone's mic, one person's connection, the YouTube machine? Hopefully, you're seeing and hearing us all okay. Jost Mike is asking, is there any chance that Steph joins Physical 100 Season 2? Unless they move it to Philly, I'm not sure that Steph would qualify for a Korean reality TV show. Have you seen that show?
Oh, hell no. No, I haven't. But I think reality TV, it's like, yeah, I'm good. Nah, I'm
So
not,
this one's
not
a little
about
different. You
that.
might enjoy watching it just from your training background and knowing the discipline involved. They get 100 people who have unbelievable physiques, like national taekwondo champions, wrestling champions, bodybuilders, army trainers, that kind of thing. So they range from looking stocky and normal to like gigantic beefcakes to skinny little wiry muscle guys. And then it's men and women. And it's a competition to see who has the ultimate physique by putting them through all these physical challenges and wrestling and climbing ropes and but it's pretty crazy. Some
Oh,
are, huge and a bit flabby, but the world's like Asia's strongest man, and then others are super lean, like tree climbers or whatever, and it's pretty cool. There are Taekwondo people in there and stuff
actually,
as
that
well.
does sound pretty good. But I would not stand a chance. I am retired. I don't train like that anymore. No, I'm good. I had a massage the other day.
See, if they had massage bodies, then Steph might be in with a chance. Nice. I've been dying for one. I keep saying I should have one, but haven't. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Maybe when we're
Yeah.
in Thailand, Ernest and I can find time for one.
Hmm.
Okay, guys, how about we jump in and take a look at our images before Steph gets to lick it up? I'm kind of
Yeah.
fighting off a cold and flu, so I'm on taurine, ginseng, and caffeine this Thursday morning. But that should only help my focus, I hope. So first
Get
up,
some vitamin C.
that too.
OJ.
This first one from Chris D. Now, Chris often enters softball shots, volleyballs. I know my sports. Now, challenging thing with this one, Chris, when you've got all of the background in the shot, one, you are off level, but two, it's really hard to make everything look balanced because you're shooting at an angle at a fence, so it's running away from you. So then you've got a perspective issue, and then you've got so many verticals and diagonals in the background that make it really hard. But you can fairly clearly see, where's my mouse, that it's not straight just from the first vertical. So just straightening that up would be good. I kind of like the girl's face in the background, although we can't see it. It's a great moment. I'm just not sure that you're in on it. From memory, you mentioned that you already had to crop this, so you couldn't get it to be as high res of a file as you would have liked. But I think the action is really in on the moment, on the slide. Seems like you've chosen your settings well. The slide all looks nicely timed out. I think it's fine. The only thing is we've only got one of the four faces, and it's not the most engaged. It's probably not the most exciting of the four. Any thoughts on this one, Steph?
Um, I kind of like the fact that you do have the four individuals. I think it's just for me the leveling issue. And does that mean she's safe? I don't play like baseball or softball. She's safe, right? Like she got on
I don't
base.
even see the ball. I assume the ball is in the
It's
catcher's mitt.
in the yeah.
You can
It's
see it there.
yellow. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's yellow.
Right.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Well done. Physical 100 season 3. Watch out. Miami baseball, softball. David Glabmer, David Newnow, sports. I guess dragsters is considered sport. I,
I
I
think
guess
so.
it depends
Yeah.
on your. Yeah, I guess car racing is a sport.
Racing. Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure. It's kind of cool, but it's kind of a documentary shot. It's already such a long pano, but I wonder how far the fireball extended. I know you probably can't get right down on the track for obvious safety reasons, but I'm not sure that this is the most dramatic vantage point on it. Maybe being down, shooting along the side of the car would be a more interesting shot. This is kind of one of those shots where I feel like the subject is cool and interesting, but I don't think the photo is particularly creative. It's like getting a photo of a great statue or a great graffiti. The car is cool, the fireball is cool, but I don't know that there's that much that the photo is really doing to add to it, to show it in a creative way, the main thing I could say is that the framing, you've excluded all other distractions, which that does help. Would you like to talk about the next one from Francisco Granadero?
Oh, that's really cool. I feel like typically these shots, I feel like it's not just of the person, but it's also like, is it the boat or is it like a parachute or like whatever is pulling? Um, so I'm really curious as to what it is because the angle of like what he's tethered to is upwards, so maybe it's a parachute that's he's being pulled by. It does make you think, and
Or is
I
it
like
one of
the
those
fact that you can see
tracks?
his expression.
Yeah, that's true. Or
Yeah,
maybe it's one of
but
those tracks where it's being pulled along just by like a pulley or a machine or something. I don't know.
maybe.
I haven't heard of wakeboarding with parachutes, but I'm sure it happens. Yeah, I agree. The having this pose where he's in such an epic pose, but then also able to see his
Mhm.
face is pretty rare. You normally get one or the other.
Yeah.
I don't know what you were shooting from, if it was a boat or the side. I think if you'd been able to frame out well, you could probably just crop it out, the black flag on the left and the white in the bottom left corner, to have it be just him and the jump, I think could clean it up quite a bit. Now, I've been having this weird thing with my Lightroom where every time, because I have 3 monitors I'm running, whenever I try to make an adjustment, it just goes crazy and switches to another monitor. So I'm a little bit gun shy at the moment. But for example, if you brought it in like this, actually, probably bring it down from the top. Maybe something like that cleans it up fairly well. Nice. Now we are 3 of 14 images in. We've got to remember picks, but with 14 we can always review them all. What do you think of
Yep.
this one, Steph? Another bally,
Ooh,
tossy,
another base.
batty, hitty one.
Um, I feel like the focus is really on the catcher for this, honestly. I mean, yeah, the ball's coming. I'm not sure if he's gonna hit it or not, just because of like the angle. I would assume yes, but I don't know baseball. Um, and also the expression of the guys in the back on the right corner, that's pretty good. I think for me, that's what kind of makes this shot, but I
Agree.
I think it's just too much space on the bottom,
I think you could bring it
and
up on
like
the bottom.
it's
He probably, because you're right, the faces in the top right, what makes it interesting. If they
yeah.
weren't there, then the shot is right in here. You get them
Hmm.
out and bring it right in. But then if
Yeah.
you want them in, either you kind of have to make it, again, a weird pano to get it all. One point though, I think the focus is right on. It actually has the catcher and the batter sharp. It's just that the shutter speed isn't fast enough that it's hasn't captured the ball and the bat sharp, which makes him look a little soft. And looking at the dust coming off the bat, I think that is just after he's made contact with the ball. I think the ball is now
Oh.
firing away. So
Oh.
pretty good, and we're 4 in. I reckon that could be my first pick. Hello, Zumi.
That's Zoomy. Yep. Zoomy's the one that always barks.
There you
Hey,
go.
Zoom.
If you have any
Calm
questions,
down.
folks, send them in. Oh, we got a lot of baseballs today. This one from Ira Gershenki.
Whoa.
Now, this one maybe is slightly out of focus, or at least the ball is out of the focus zone. F4.51 2000th of a second. Yeah, it could be just, well, that's a nice, I guess that's a safe as well. It's hard. I would say you're already up at ISO 400 and 1/2000th of a second. Great looks. Obviously, you know what you're doing, trying to make sure you're getting the action pin sharp at it with a nice fast shutter speed. You just never know what's going to be the best frame. Is the ball going to be close or far, and how much depth of field you need? Maybe having f5.6 here would have been helpful, but then, do you want to sacrifice and have your ISO up to 640 or something like that? Nice clean frame, lots of drama.
Yeah.
Comparing it to the last one, I think it's a more professional shot overall, this latest one, but it doesn't have kind of the same storytelling effect. But I think if the last one is a pick, then this needs to be a pick too. God damn, did I
Yeah.
actually say this was a baseball, softball themed show or what?
Yeah, what? Why is there so many? Actually,
And I think
maybe
there's
is
more
it
as well.
because is baseball easier to take photos of actually compared to other sports?
Maybe it's easier to get your gear in. I know Chris goes a lot because there's teams nearby. Jacob's one, this looks like it was shot well, I don't know. There's so many parks that have this kind of a setup, right, where you can just be
Hmm.
there. You don't need a ticket to shoot it. So maybe.
Hmm.
I think this is a pretty good shot. It would work a lot better if we had the ball somewhere in the shot to give it a bit of more visual interest. Also, I don't think the perfectly central framing here really is doing it justice. And 1/500th of a second, you can see, is not fast enough to get even his arms sharp, let alone the bat.
Hmm.
I understand that your focus points are best and most sensitive right in the center of the frame, but generally a really central composition isn't going to give you the most dynamic final shot. Having this perspective with the fence behind as well kind of makes it a bit busy. And unfortunately, you're up against lots of other baseball shots this week, so we've got lots to compare you
Yeah.
directly against. Next one, I was going to ask you to judge this one, Steph, but I don't know if it's fair to. Maybe I need to do the judging on this one.
Yeah, I think you should do it.
Um, well, having not knowing,
I did not submit this by any, like, just letting you guys
sure,
know this
sure,
was a shoot that I did
always trying to
recently.
get free courses. Not knowing this wasn't a shoot that I was a part of in any way, so not knowing all of those details. So, Steph's a great subject. It's a nice, fairly simple lighting setup. You've got nice soft light on all of her. Looks like a bit of an edge light on her kicking foot. She three-ish things. One, I don't know if this is would be Steph's overall favorite pose. Her left hand is missing. Often she'll pull that out for so it's visible, but we can just kind of see the fist behind the knee. I'll let Steph give the actual knows what the hell she's talking about talk afterwards. Maybe this is a perfect form. The her hair obviously is being completely lost on the dark background, so maybe that edge light could have been used to separate her out a bit. And for me, there's a bit of lens distortion coming in here. I don't know how big the space was, but going further back and using a longer focal length, I think might work better. Just looking at the kicking foot and the head, knowing Steph's proportions fairly well, from my mind now without needing to pick up a camera. This was shot at 50 mil, so going back to 70, 105, 120, that kind of length, you could correct that out a little bit. Now, woman with a dog, please give us
Yes.
the inside scoop.
Okay, so for Taekwondo roundhouse kicks, it's okay to have like the left arm missing just because like you kind of like pull as you kick. I would just also say I agree with Matt, and I think a lot of times for like kicks or even dancers, shooting at a lower vantage point and upwards always looks better, and it makes the kick look like it's much higher as well. Um, and I mean, yeah, pretty much everything that Matt said, but yeah, Jay, you could move back a little bit, but we'll work on that next time.
Extra credit, pick. um, what the heck,
I
Mark
can't
Goldman?
pick it. That's not fair.
True, but the next pick is yours. Mark Goldman, this seems to be another ish baseball, or
Baseball.
is this like where they throw the Gatorade at the player or something, or I don't know what's going on.
I I would assume so, but that is crazy momentum if they're like throwing Gatorade, and it's tinted blue, so I'm kind of, is it, or is he just being hosed out?
So it
I
says
don't know.
walk-off celebration. So I'm guessing he's being celebrated. Maybe it's like a champagne thing. I don't know. It's pretty cool. Your exposure is. Look at the histogram. Gosh, I don't remember seeing a histogram quite like that before. I think with the liquid catching so much light, it's really hard. But he, behind all of that liquid, is actually kind of a bit dark. But then if you brighten him
Yeah.
up, you're probably going to blow out your highlights. But maybe, let's see, I don't know if the soil in the foreground is going to be the same color as his skin, but maybe you can bring up his skin just a little, yeah, something like that. So that was before and after, yeah. Interest. So that's a leg brace on one leg. It looks like he's missing a shoe or something. I don't know that much about baseball, but it's an interesting
Yeah.
shot. His pose is great. Um, Still, I guess the celebration part of things is an important part of all sports. So nice variation on all of the other baseball stuff we've had this week. Steph,
Yeah.
your turn. Mark Kutke, punchy kiki lady.
Oh, punchy. Okay. I'm assuming that's a hook, right? I mean, I'm not a specialist when it comes to boxing, but I feel like technique-wise, it might be a little off. But also, I feel
Do you think
like
that's
with a
the at the
hook,
end of a hook? Yeah.
yeah, I feel like if you're trying to catch like a hook, I think having her more 45 degrees or even like front facing towards the camera would be a bit more impactful. Also, when it comes to like boxing, I feel like just looking right dead into like the lens always looks like pretty good too, because it's like serious. Like, I'm gonna beat you up type of thing. Do you guys hear her breathing?
Yes, and it's adorable. I
Oh,
agree with Steph's
sorry.
feedback. Now, Mark, if we were just having a portrait competition, then I think this works great. But this is specifically a sports one. So if we were looking at, her skin tones are beautiful as a like even a athletic fashion type shot. It's cool, although having the mixed brand logos probably wouldn't fly. All of that is good, but if it's a sports theme shoot, then what we're interested in is not that she's athletic or that she's in the gym, it's that she's a boxer. So then Steph's feedback about thinking about the poses is really important. We try to keep the competitions nice and broad, but then it's whose image has kind of best worked with the theme rather than just saying, okay, they all qualify now, which is the best shot. We are kind of thinking, so which is the best in terms of the creativity, but then also as a sports related image. But I think it's a really pretty and
Yeah.
the kind of the graphic shape she forms is
I
cool.
like the muscles too, like the shadows that you have for it. So
Yes.
pick.
And okay. And also the small shadowing that you've left on the floor. It's kind of a classic with the boxing ring having all of those lights around that you get some of those. They're not really hard, but leaving some of them in I think works just fine. Another dang baseball one, and
Wow.
a catcher who is having a bad night.
Oh.
I guess that's why they wear such expensive helmets. Ouch. Um, we're all kind of speechless just thinking about, oh, that's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Now, thinking about the settings, I gotta say, if I just read the settings, I would question them. But 1/640th of a second seems a bit slow for baseball. But on this shot, with the ball is nice and crisp. Yes, the bat is blurred out, but being already at 1/2000th of a second, I think you absolutely nailed it. What does that mean? No seeds. That's the only distracting thing in the background. I want to know what seeds
uh
they have a problem with.
don't at baseball games they eat like pumpkin seeds or just like they chew on
The players,
like pumpkin seeds? Yeah, I think so.
America
Or
has
like
some traditions.
sunflower seeds or just, this
Okay, so they're just
I think I don't know, movies.
in case any
Peanuts?
galahs or
Wait.
you know some wild birds come in. Yes, no feeding the birds. I think, given what we've seen so far, I have to give this one a pick too. The
Yeah,
timing
I
is
know.
impeccable.
The timing.
Nice. Milan Medic with another time warp photo. Was this taken yesterday or in the
I swear to God,
70s?
he's a time traveler.
The formation of lines on the ground are all great. Her being mid-stride and being airborne is also a nice little touch. The grain, which in most cases I would feel is really over the top, really works. I mean, pick.
Yeah.
We
Wait,
have
did we pick like every photo? What is happening?
not every, but we have
Okay,
four
okay.
more. Let's just switch back and take
Okay,
a look at
okay.
any questions we have. Steph, Mike Mina asks, how are your photography skills developing? Developing being the operative
Oh,
word.
so for this month, March, in like while we're also doing like our film stuff, we're also going to be doing photo shoots. So I will be trying that with continuous light and then borrowing Joey's flashes. A little nervous, but I'm good. Plus, handy dandy course. The case was just like, man, past stuff. What was that? All right. So, yeah, I mean, I think like definitely looking at everyone's photos and then being back like in front of the camera and like being a model and just seeing like all of the different lighting setups, it's like it kind of like makes me think a bit more about it. So this like past month, I've had a couple shoots here and there, and it's like, oh, okay, like these are the flashes, and we're trying to like capture this. So like just trying to understand the science behind it, and it's like, oh, this is a lot, and I just like stand there just like trying to absorb it. But yeah, it's been actually really fun. And I appreciate you guys so much more.
Aw, isn't that nice? I think that's the
I feel
only
very
question.
warm. Look at how much I drank, Matt.
Oh my lord, that's like a whole Steph serving. Let's finish these photos off before Steph gets all messy. We don't have too much time left in the
Good.
show. Well, we do, but I think we're going to be done soon. So, reminder, check out the workshops we have coming up, and the sale is ending 24 hours from when this goes live. Sadly, if you're watching this in the future, that means they're most likely already over. Next up, Mina Jovetic. Now, let's get a fighter's take on this one first. The umpire obviously doesn't think that's any kind of a blow to worry about, that the guy's going down. But Christ, he looks lean and strong. Thoughts, Steph?
I think capturing like fighter, like one, I think a black and white works really well with this, just because they pop when the ring is lit. And also you see all of the muscles and the striations of like the techniques. Um, Personally, I feel like it. I mean, obviously you can't control this. You can't tell the guy like, "Hey, can you get kicked in the face, but on the other side so I can see you from this angle?" But um, I mean, I think what makes it for me though is the umpire's expression. He is
Indifferent?
chill, no worries. Like he's like, "Yep, this is my job. Just got to do it." Um, but yeah, I don't think he got kicked though. I think he dodged it.
Also interesting that in the background on the screen must have a slight delay because it's got the guy in a fighting stance but not being kicked.
Yeah.
Kind of funny. I mean, as a non-fighter, I think I'm just kind of taken by the physicality of it is the main thing. I like the vantage point. I really like the umpire in the background. I would probably just get rid of this door here by just darkening it down and making it disappear. We don't need to really see that. The only thing I feel like, what was the settings? 2500 ISO on what camera? I don't feel like the treatment is necessary. It kind of feels like it's had a really HDR treatment on it, and it feels, well, it could just be that you've dehazed and added too much clarity. It feels too gritty for me. Like, I think with what's going on, it's already gritty enough that we didn't need that added in
Yeah.
edit. Two more. This one from Paul Trunful. Kind of the opposite. This guy's probably in more danger, but looks far more nerdy, but then with all of his safety gear kind of there. But probably of all the sports shots, he's probably most at risk of breaking a bone or something into the weekend
Oh
warrior.
yeah. That timing is amazing. And he's like almost perfectly horizontal. Like the bike is a little off, but I mean, that's for a minute, I thought he was just on the floor.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think it works really well. I think with a little bit of editing, you could probably, like, actually super easily pop him out a little bit. Let's just see. Does subject mask detect work on this? It does. Okay. So you could do it like that, or you could invert it. But if you do it with subject mask enabled, for example, you could bring him up by, let's say, zero point 0.8, turn the mask off, bring the whole shot down by zero point 0.8, and then see we've made him just pop that much from the background in a way that doesn't look really unnatural. Just with the background being brighter than him as it was, it it did kind of feel like it took a second to kind of figure out exactly what we were looking at. So that's the edit I made, and that's where we started out. So I guess another pick.
Yeah.
And lucky last, Philip Livingston. This looks like Rugby Union. And again, missing the ball. But I mean, again, you think those guys are like probably 240 pounds being lifted up by their teammates. That you kind of lose perspective when everyone's a giant. But those guys would be like the kind of guy who walk down the street and get looks from everyone. But they're all so big. And the thing that strikes me about this is the stadium is empty.
Yeah. Also, wait, so they're lifting their players up to catch the ball?
Yeah, so they like throw the ball in
What?
from the side and they throw their players up to try and grab it from the air, basically. And
That is wild.
but taking a look at it, so the water drops I think are kind of
Is
cool.
it
And
raining?
yeah, it's raining. I don't know about the framing though. I feel like it's it's a cool composition, but I feel like you still have more room overhead than you need. I would actually rather have seen more of what's going on down low on the ground.
Yeah.
I
And
feel
the
like
guy's
if you,
face is peeking in just the tiniest bit.
yeah, but I feel like if you bring it right in on the action, then that already makes it a more powerful shot. Now I'm guessing it's really, yeah, it's really low light. You're trying to freeze action here, so you're up at ISO 2500. So it is getting a little messy already. Lighting is hard at these kind of live events, but I think, yeah, definitely potential in this movement in the game. It almost feels like, especially with the guy on the right kind of falling away, having lost the ball, it feels like you could film this in slow motion and put it to like operatic music of them going through the movements. Something very epic and grand about it. Nice one. Um,
Nice. That's our last one, right? Yes.
yes. Okay. So I think that is our last. We don't have any other questions too. So if you have questions, folks, send them in. Otherwise, we are now going to take a look at those picks. And now, as much as I do love a good Steph kicking the air picture, I don't know that we'll make her a winner. Um,
Told you, Jay. I told you.
uh, and I do really like the boxing shot as a standalone shot, but if we're talking about sport and what tells the story of the sport, well, there's the three baseball ones, and basically they're up against each other. The two fighters, I think, are out. The runner, I do actually think that that tells a great story.
Yeah.
My assistant was a semi-professional runner, and I'm sure a lot of that kind of sport, and any sport really, is actually a really lonely process of all the training, all the hours you have to put in with no one watching, people only seeing, the finish line kind of. So I feel like that story actually tells something great. You don't know if she's at the start or the end of the race, but she's still in it. Our, I don't know, he looks like the kind of guy who works for Peak Design. This guy doing the bicycle kick thing in the air, I think works really well. And then it's out of the baseball shots. So out of those, Steph, do you have a favorite?
I'm gonna go with. Man, this is hard. I'm gonna have to go with time traveling Milan.
There you go. If you didn't, I
Yeah.
probably would have. And then I'm a little bit torn between two others.
Which
Um,
ones?
I think I'll give. Let's see. Well, I'll just share the two. It's the Paul Trunful and our cyclist,
Mhm.
and then Michael Darmstad with the Darmstad, yep, with the
Yeah.
about to get a ball in the face.
I literally was thinking the same thing. Those were like my second and third too.
I'm just not sure. The bike shot here from Paul is so clean and pops, and
Hmm.
it's a peak moment shot. And then Michael's is also absolutely a peak moment. If you'd got it just as the ball was connecting, is also great, but so centered between his hand and the face is just amazing. I think
Yeah.
both of them would work better with slightly more careful cropping and editing. Considering we had so many baseball entries and this one stood out, I think I'm going to make our second winner Michael Darmstad with the ball to the face and
Yay.
a highly recommended runner-up for Paul. So Michael and Milan, I'll be in touch so you can choose your prize. Congratulations. Thank you to everyone else who entered your shots. And I think I forgot to announce, but we have already chosen the March theme. Did I say it at the start of the show? I don't think I did.
Nope.
Is weather. I chose weather because my buddy who lives in LA told me that there was snow on the Hollywood sign this week, and he had snow at his house that I think he's 52 and he hadn't seen it before happening. So and I want to remind you though, weather doesn't mean a photo of the most insane weather will win. It's going to be weather is the topic, and then it's going to be the most thoughtful or beautiful or whatever shot of the weather where weather is what's making the image work. But it doesn't mean you have to be in the Yukon or in the middle of Death Valley or something to get a shot that's just at the extreme. So it could just be a beautiful sunny day at your local river, but it's the fact that it's that great weather, people out having picnics or whatever, that it's the weather that's making the shot work. As long as it's a great image, then it's still in the running. Thank you to everyone who joined the chat today. Thank you to Steph for getting slightly buzzed with us with her first beer in
Yeah.
12 months.
Yeah.
Thanks to Yobo for helping to moderate, and check out the workshops we've got coming up. Let me know if you have any questions. Is there any other shout outs you wanted to make, Steph?
If you guys are interested in seeing what I'm up to for the month of March, check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/art school dropouts. We'll be doing a lot of behind the scenes, and yeah, it's going to be a very exciting month of just filming, photos, behind the scenes, D&D, just all kinds of stuff, fight scenes. So yeah, if you guys want to get access to all of that good stuff,
Did you say
check
D
it
and
out.
D?
Yeah, we do a patron only Dungeons and Dragons campaign, which is pretty cool. So our patrons, they get to choose the character that they want to play, and Joey like builds it, and then we all play together. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a cleric monk. I am very passive. I try not to fight unless I have to. Yeah.
Oh, it sounds so
Yeah, right
nerdy
now we're
and terrible,
fighting.
but I kind of also want to join.
I know, right? It's so good. Right now we're
Not
stuck in a
good.
battle against a velociraptor.
What, this is the Jurassic Park edition of Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh no, it's because for movie night we watched Velocipaster. So Joey's like, screw it, we're just gonna make the next big boss that we fight a big raptor. So
Steph, you're one of my favorite people, but you really need a role model. What are you doing with your life? Seriously.
I think I'm doing awesome.
Happiness is important, I suppose. We're still going to have some words. Thank you, Steph. Check out her Patreon. Link is there. Thank you all for joining us. Enter your weather shot. And I think that will do us. Velocipasta. Goodness.
You should watch it. It's crazy.
Ciao, bella.
Bye, guys.
Wow. Just wow.